Well, hello, good evening. We got ourselves an opponent from Indonesia, Rangga Wachkuyau, and we're playing a rapid game because that's a new format that I want to give myself a chance to play more often rather than the humdrum blitz. Now, the book move is this, but well, I don't know any other theory to be honest. So let's just play this and try to play it to the best of our abilities, the way we know this opening. What we should expect to see is capture, capture, pawn up, capture, and bishop check. But he's gone a totally different route. Also very playable line. So, so all we can say is it looks like it's going to be a nice positional game of some kind, a slightly non-standard positional game. Question arises whether you should already start to harass this knight, cramp up his position further. The only drawback of doing it is it allows bishop pin right here, but that's not really a problem. It's not an issue at all because this pawn is not attacked. So a4 is pretty much a solid incoming plan. We're holding a nice big center. We're gonna play it anyway. Okay, so he's kind of allowing me to do a5, but he might have an intermezzo. Hmm. And if we advance the pawn to d5, I think that's the most solid move. It's most in line with our general theme of play, which is about restricting his mobility. And now we got a chance to play the ultimate maneuver, which would give us this nice hole in his position, which we definitely want to exploit. We want to create it when we can actually can't even castle. There's even this kind of move, which is probably playing into his hands in a way. And this move is much more, I like it. So now we definitely want to get a bishop that's comfortably on this diagonal. I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And now he's trying to attack, defend, attack, defend. Keeping the queens on the board probably a good thing, considering that his king is going to be a bit more vulnerable than ours. Let's just ratchet up the pressure. Let's just heighten the pressure. That's his main weak spot. King castling. We could castle, but I think the only benefit would be if the rook is somehow. The king is safe. The king is pretty safe at the moment, so castling is not necessarily the top priority right now, especially when you have such good momentum and activity going on. So, yeah. Next ideas are most likely going to be something like knight g5, or even just bishop here, maybe. No, it's pointless. Okay, so he's giving up the pawn and allowing just to castle, which is a safe way to play is to capture, and then you castle yourself, and it's all good. Let's just do it like that. Let's play it a bit safe and castle. So we have an extra pawn, we have a safe position. It's a passed pawn, so huge advantage actually. And the main defender of that pawn is pretty solid. What we do need to do is probably add a few more defenders to the mix. Keep the queen on the board, either attacking the square or defending that pawn. Okay. This kind of move invites knight hops. It invites knight hop mania, actually. There's all sorts of knight hop mania going on right now. You've heard about it, right? In the news. Knight hop mania time. Yeah. So, well, we're definitely gonna. I'm licking my lips here, man. I gotta go. Gotta go with that. I don't even know how it's gonna go, but this can't be wrong. This is hostile. It may not be the best move, but it's most likely to win the game quickly, and it's going to be very difficult for our opponent to handle, I think, in general. But so far it's fairly decent handling, fairly decent handling at this point. What do we want to do? We need to have an idea of what our plan is. That's what we don't clearly have, actually. Um, right now, we're just sitting in position, but we don't actually have the follow up. Unless we go queen here, threatening knight check. What can we do? Sure, that's pretty nasty. This queen and knight makes such a great pair of dancers, actually. And with this position all cramped up like it is, he doesn't have enough time to spring that surprise reveal attack because of the knight check, which would kill the rook. And then we kill the knight as well. So it's not looking good for him, if I'm being polite here. It's not looking good for him, and it's not good for anyone, actually, that this is happening, because now we got to play a queen maneuver here, pinning that rook, and then threatening a knight again, right? Isn't that the right way? You just move away with the king. Okay. Okay. Um, Not exactly sure what's going on here, but uh, let's see. Hmm. Not a move I was expecting. And whenever something surprises you, you should pause and think about it. We can trade off a lot of material here. and stem the attack a bit, or we keep the queen and stuff on the board. I don't think I have a finishing move, to be honest. I'm gonna cash in, and then I'm gonna attack the pawn, and then at some point I'll try to swap these off and win the pawn. That's one idea. Of course, now he's defending it with the knight, which was to be expected. The question comes, how much defense do we put into this? Do we now get the knight out here? Or do we try to find a way to activate the rook instead? And what's our response to this? How about a move like f4? Okay, we want to play a bit faster. So I'm gonna up my speed because he could have actually come here. And now this f4 move is important to defend that pawn push. And it also threatens to just keep the knight there as a forever outpost, which was kind of sounds like a good thing to do. Um, all this business about capturing the bishop there and winning a pawn is, well, it's practical. We are a pawn up already, so just, yeah. Keep that promise going. Now, it's very clear that we shouldn't be aiming to hit these pieces here, probably. Actually, he can just play this now and kill this. But I'm getting the feeling that we can stop caring about what's happening on the other side of the world right now. Like we probably shouldn't care in principle, and that instead we should try to use the time to build these pawns rolling forward. If he does indeed go for that kind of approach. And he's going for it. Let's show him that we are prepared. We're ready for that. Because this is just, it's proper chess. Winning a side pawn is not the thing to go after when the stakes are this high. You've got to hold your guard, hold your position, and maybe he didn't have another choice. I don't know, but I'm very sure that this is great for for white. It's great for white. Well, that seems to be it. Then the rook is just beautifully trapped here. And pretty much everything wins. I don't even know which is the better combination. This is probably a good combination from him. As good as it gets, in fact. In fact, it's great combination from him. Shit. 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 He gets out of trouble, actually. He bailed himself out of trouble there. Okay, we gotta. Okay. We can't let go of this. So we had to play the right move, and that's here. If we just captured, then he would have liquidated and then captured the knight. So this way we are at least cashing in on some material. We need some material here to make sure that, you know, and now we can abandon any hopes of a very quick mate or anything like that. That's not really on the cards here. Uh, he could play something interesting like that. We could actually get the knight back into our favorite little nook. Be so annoying for him. Or we can take a new nook. Let's go to our favorite nook. We'll offer the bishop trade, I think. Go back to the nook. Now we have to have an active rook. We've got to try to win both of these pawns for the price of one. That's what we want to try to do. May not happen though. So let's just go after one. Maybe we should have defended it instead. Anyway. Uh, we have this check here, intermezzo. And the rook is defending the knight, so he can't capture it. So we tactically blitzed him there at the end. I mean, he was playing way too fast for what was needed. Okay. I'm getting carried away too, actually, here. Shit. I bungled this up a bit here. Okay. Now he should be close to getting mated, but not quite there. This is a mate threat, yeah. Okay. Good game. Let's have a review. 85%, not bad. And 2300, okay. That's pretty decent. Uh, yeah, so we played a different opening. And this whole A4 idea maybe wasn't the right one. But this definitely was. The pawn structure, the cramping, Creating the hole, it was premature actually. Like I could have held the tension. Um, Held the tension, allowed b5, a takes, queen takes, bishop c4. Something like this to hold the tension is considered better. Maybe we want to invite him to capture here and get a passed pawn rather than to create a hole. That's what the computer thinks. Anyway, we didn't go that route. We wanted to create an island, a weak pawn that we could attack and target. And let's just face it, his defense wasn't up to scratch. His defense wasn't on up to scratch. He gave up the pawn instead, and then played this move. And I started licking my lips here. Got my knight in, but that was obvious tactic. How could I miss that, man? I had to have. This is astonishingly bad. This is so obvious. So obvious. Knight and queen always work well together, but actually I messed it up. Actually, I messed it up. And then I simplified. Played a boring fucking game instead. But I did my own thing. You know, I am who I am. I played a more classy, like central push game here. And it got tricky with the tactics, actually. It got very tricky with the tactics. But both of us are playing at a pretty high caliber level here to manage the storm. We got our knight to our nook. It was unnecessary, actually. All pretty solid end game for both of us so far. We blundered over there, and then we caved in for the next best thing, which was still winning handsomely. You see, just don't panic when if you're ahead, then just stay ahead and don't panic. And here we went for the cheap move. We needed to deliver a check, but we got him on a mate here. Nice mate. All right, thank you.